Well, hello everyone. My name is Matthew McGuire. From Manny Make 25, and like your current student, is like at the art school, and basically that you see right here is you put together right here for your Adobe Creative Cloud, and you see right here is I would put right here is a painting right here, for Statue of Liberty. Yeah, this painting right here was originally worked on Microsoft Paint. If most of us can see that this took me about a little over 2 hours or so. That was back it would have been back about 4 years ago, something like that. The way I went and put this together right here, with the Statue of Liberty, and then with the fireworks display right here. Of course, I never been to that location, at least not that I know. But anyway, but thinking about, I'm like, whenever I look at this. At this painting right here, I keep thinking about, I'm like, yeah, that the Department of Treasury or something like that, I'm like, for any student that may want to work, whenever you go back to school, a lot of times, you're then necessarily thinking about that really, I'm like, why do we think that we want to go back to school and maybe to learn new stuff, if it's going to be, anything about for what we want to do for our careers. And like I mentioned before, is to where that whenever I started going to school, that I basically started as like for like anything about that, a lot of the for what I did that was working on. And it was basically that it was basically a hobby whenever I started. But then as you know nearly 10, 12 years later, then that's whenever I worked on for a degree with it, and degree for what I do, and if anything related to artwork. And I'm sure that any students that may want to work, that yeah, that the types of jobs that more likely to pay you just to draw all day and paint all day, that type of stuff. But yeah, and in a lot of ways, that it's like understanding about the programs too. But I don't know. I'm like, if we can answer the question to where the country to it, the country of America. I'm like, do they necessarily pay for any U.S. citizen just to work their artwork, if it's going to be anything related to cartoon characters or anything file creation, animation, paintings, stuff like that, to where the types of jobs that pay you just to paint and then work in the programs. And nowadays with digital technology, that they basically say is to where that job could more likely it's offered at those certain locations. And yeah, well, we're not talking about that it may keep you busy for a couple of hours. I'm like, it may keep you busy maybe for the entire year for what all that you do. But for these programs though, is that I don't know anybody that may want to where that yeah, especially if it's going to be anything about maybe the Boy Scouts or camp or anything like that, to where whenever they get busy with something, and they may expect to only be busy with it for a couple of hours, but then it may wind up turning out to where maybe a full 6 months to maybe a full year or two that they'll be busy with it. So necessarily thinking about any students that may say yeah that they went back to school mainly for a degree, to make to make more money or anything like that. But then on the other hand, there's like a lot more stuff to the package to where that you have right here is like the fireworks display right here, and any student that may want that, according to their understanding, that yeah, that they would earn grants, and then as well as they would get credit hours, stuff like that. But I'm sure like any student would think necessarily to where whenever they started that from their experience to where they may think that well, oh well, you ain't got nothing to lose. Yeah, hey, that you'll get paid more money, and then by the time you get paid money, and then that's necessarily thinking about it's like to where really I'm like if you're supposed to pay that use that money to pay back on any loans, or if it's anything anything else that you need to have, and thinking about that really that any student that may think that they're really to be on the safe side, is it's all about mainly about really that whenever you go to school, that more likely it seems like it's a lot of cash down. It's a lot of money cash down, to where that they ain't gonna pay you money. You got to pay them money. But then by the time you get a job, then more likely thinking that yeah, that you start seeing more money coming in. And I could probably say that whenever I first started, that a lot of things I was not used to, and one of those was about understanding about if there's going to be any checks, refund checks, or anything like that. Anything that's based on like student loan information, to where that yeah that you weren't quite clear until all of a sudden that you got a letter in the mail or something like that about something. But unlike anybody say that it's like for the Statue of Liberty right here, that for America though, that whenever we file our taxes, and let's just say if we do get a tax return check in the mail or something, and you're like Warren, to where okay, I didn't think that I was going to be getting another check, or because like since last year that there was an extra check that came to me that I was not aware of, and I'm sure that they say that your tax papers or financial aid papers that may have said something such as that you are not qualified for this tax, you refund back or anything like that, you'll refund amount, but then it could be a couple of weeks later, and anybody that may wonder to where what do people necessarily mean to where between a couple of days and a couple of weeks or a couple of months? And I would probably say on average to where about 12, about the number would be 12. About 12 days is equal to about a few days, and then 12 weeks will be a week equal to about a few weeks. So whenever people say a few, then usually that means about 12, maybe the 15 days or weeks or months or something like that. But let's just say on average to where that if it's been at least 2 years and you haven't heard anything, or maybe about a year and a half, but I'm sure that they say at least about 100 days or so that after about maybe 9 or 10 weeks total that like get back to you that like the taxes office as well as for any financial aid that if you're going to be working something and you're like Warren to where you're supposed to be getting any refunds, but on average to where that unlike anybody, a student like me who just got started about a year ago, and you're like thinking about what's the main reason to why you went back to school, really, to present my artwork. I'm like that's just what I like doing. I like whenever I work my art stuff like right here that this may not look like the actual Statue of Liberty, but then whenever I look at this and do the work on Photoshop, show the after effects of the fireworks, and like with right here is like the lights of the Liberty right here, and I'm like thinking about, I'm like really that I always used to think, my teachers used to a lot of times say is to where that Matthew, I'm like Matthew should get in an art class one of these days, and I kept thinking about that. There's probably many other great artists out there, but from my own work, I kept thinking about really that was this done all by tracing, or was this all done by looking at any pictures? And I could probably say, well, I looked at one picture just to get me an idea, but other than that it was like, yeah, that from all the other artworks that I put together is to where that no, I was not looking at no pictures, but you have here's an example right here of like say for the Creative Cloud, and any student that may want to where whenever they start, some that may say that yeah, they mainly went back to make more money, but then on the other hand, how often do quite a few of them say anything about really to where that show to where how improved their education, how did the skills and study and improve their education? And I could probably say that whenever I look at my paperwork from my schoolwork from back nearly 15 years ago, I can see a difference. And I don't know about anybody else, but I can see a difference. One of those would be it's like maybe a little bit of the writing, but then with the painting especially. And for anything, all that what I do, of course, I keep thinking about, yeah, I can't really say 5 years from now, by the year 2020, by 4th of July, by the Independence Day of 2020, if it's July 4th of the year 2020, that this could have like that I could think about getting a job doing this or that, and then they may say that oh no, it's in the development. 7 months from now, that more likely that you more likely will be selected as one of the members of the graphic designing team, and working for this company. So anybody say about almost anything's possible, but just try not to rush it either. So like with anybody, say with anybody, family members, parents, that they may say that make sure to take time reasonably, is to that they can thinking mainly about what's going on now and for the future and understanding about the job. That more like say goes from a hobby to a career and thinking about yeah that you say knowing about for